Hello and welcome back to another Roblox Twisted video. Today we're doing something a little different. I'm going to be explaining the basics of Twisted from the earliest vehicles you get all the way until your late game plays, where you're going to be seeing 300 plus miles an hour and you're going to be getting like good money, good wind speeds. You're even going to be I'm even going to be explaining like what vehicles to get along the way. So without further ado, let's get to the first like kind of basic explanations of this video. Hey, want to stay up to date with the latest official ST videos? Make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and like the video. Thank you for watching. So imagine this. You've just joined Twisted, and you just spawned somewhere on the map, and it's pitch black out, or it's daytime, and you have absolutely no idea what's going on. This is the common experience for most players. They'll have no idea what's going on, they'll have no idea what's happening. They just saw cool tornadoes on the front page of this game, and they decided to play it. Twisted isn't very beginner friendly. And this is unfortunate because this is why it often pushes many players away, because they don't have the time and they just want their interceptor quick. This is like where most people will stop playing. But for the few who continue to persevere, you'll know probably, for those of you that are like more experienced, the first vehicle you should always buy, absolutely always when starting a Twisted gameplay, is in fact going to be, you're going to go to your dealership here. So you'll probably be started right here. I think it's whatever, wherever you start. Yeah, so you'll start with the Chevron. All right, vehicle, definitely it's the beginner vehicle, but what you're going to do first, you're going to go to click on the settings up here. You're going to go enter promo code and you're going to click start. You're going to do all caps start. Now I've already redeemed it for when I started all the way back in 2021. But when you do redeem that, you'll receive quite a good bonus of money. Then you're going to go to dealership. You're going to go to this very last tab here to Navarra. You're going to buy the Navarra territory, except you're going to select Scout instead. Now, what's nice about this vehicle is it has 4 probe capacity. So instead of making the basic, like, usual 2 probes for interceptors, you get to hold 4 total. Now, that's actually going to be our next part of the explanation. So without further ado, yeah, let's get straight onto that. Okay, so picture this. You've just bought your first vehicle, the Scout. Now this is an amazing vehicle, but you have absolutely no idea how to use it. Well, first of all, your most important tool that you will always use in Twisted is your radar. You're going to click M if you're on computer. This will open up this screen, or if you're on mobile, you'll click this little radar signature up here. Now, when you're in here, it may seem a little deceiving and like very complicated at first, but once you get the basics, it's not super hard. So these giant formations here are storms. Now, when a storm forms, it'll be basically a little blob. It'll grow large, and then it'll form what is called a hook. Now, the hook is where the rotation and therefore the tornado will form. This little symbol right here is a rotation, and that is its path. So that right there is also one of the most important features. You need to watch where the tornado is going. So you follow this big, large box around the tornado indicates where it might head. So it can either head up, it can head this way, or it can head straight. Now, in order to get yourself a good intercept, or in our case, a good probe intercept, you're going to put yourself right about in the middle of that box. So yeah, and there it is right now, guys. You can see this large rotation on the ground, and that indicates where a tornado is most likely going to drop. There are also many different types of tornadoes, but I will go into that in probably a different video. But first, we are going to get ourselves a good setup here, so I will get y'all in a second. Okay, so now that we're in front of the tornado, I can basically explain what is most important, and that is getting your probes down in a correct spot. Now, the tornado did these orange indicators right here. You're going to click over here, and that's TVS. Now, these indicate kind of the estimated speeds within the tornado. So 140 is pink, and pink is the most powerful tornadoes, and it will be 140 and up. So once it hits pink, you don't know truly how fast it's going. Right now, this tornado that we are watching is hovering. But what you're going to do first when intercepting, yeah, make sure you follow the Skywarn box, because the Skywarn will shift as the tornado moves. Certain types of tornadoes can be more likely to shift than others. So just be mindful. Now, once you're in the relative area of the Skywarn box, you need to watch and make sure that you have a good spot to place down probes. Now, depending on if you're in a public or a private server, which most people will start in a public, you'll probably be with other storm chasers will be piling up on the roads. Now, you're going to basically follow where they're going, and you're going to place down your probes, but you don't want to ride with them. You're going to get out of there, and you're just going to let your probes do the money making. Now, right now, yeah, see, there it is. There's the big tornado. So we're going to park right here, and we're going to jump out. What you do, you place down your probes. You kind of want to spread them out a little bit. Now, make sure if you see dust particles or your screen starts to shake, you get out of there. And if a message appears in the corner saying wind speeds over probe placement threshold, then you get out of there quick or get in a vehicle, because in that case you may be picked up and thrown into the tornado. Now, once we've got all of our probes down, you can see you don't really need to have them in a fashion. On our Messinet, you can tell when a storm, how fast the tornado is going, or how fast the wind speeds are. Once you start seeing maybe around 90 miles an hour, you need to drive, or you just need to get away from it. Now, right now, our probes are pretty much under this large bowl-shaped tornado that is floating in the air. Now, that was considered a good intercept there. Now, we're going to see our probes. They're getting high wind speeds, which is a really good sign for us, and they're making tons of money. Now, the two types of probes that I placed in there are Hit PR Hit PR instrument probes and TwistX tower probes. These two probes are drastically different in terms of health and money making. The Hit PRs are good for their extreme amounts of durability and health. And then the TwistX tower probes are known for their really quick money. Oh, man, and we're being dragged around by the tornado. See, yeah. So, obviously, guys, don't do what I did right there. That is a very bad example of what to do during a tornado. Now, this tornado hit 150 miles an hour. So, that is classified as a pink TVS tornado right there. And it hasn't... There it goes. It's touching down. So, this is what is called, yeah, a wedge there. But, basically, here it comes. And once a tornado gets on the ground, it can either speed up, slow down, or it can do lots of different things. But that's that is your first intercept. And until you get your first vehicle, you really should just keep following that same idea / pattern. And oftentimes, you should probably go with the crowd, because people will pile up, and they are often pretty accurate enough for probes. But that's enough for the first vehicle, like the Scout. We are going to move on to your first interceptor. So, yeah, I will see y'all in a second. Okay, so you just got your first storm chasing vehicle. Or, for many of you, you're still on the debate which vehicle to get. My honest opinion is there's two options that you can take. Really, you can, if you want to get an interceptor as soon as possible, don't go for the Tornado Puncher, ever. But instead, what you're going to do is you're going to get the Dominator 1. Now, what the Dominator 1 is good for is not for super long, heavy intercepts, but it instead is the fastest of the early interceptors, and it has extremely quick deploy time, which is really helpful and really useful. Now, or you can take the second option, which is to go for the Dominator 2. Now, the Dominator 2 is basically a better version of the Dominator 1, has spikes, and it survives 15 miles per hour more, surviving up to 185, I believe. But... is it one? No, it's actually 190. But the unfortunate problem is that it's $50,000 more. So you have to save up a little bit more. And I know that many people just want to get an interceptor as soon as they can and start chasing that thrill seekers, like the kind of people that just want to play the game for what it is. And I completely understand this. But the unfortunate problem is there's no real way to, like, do that to where it's a good idea, because there's vehicles like the Dominator 2 goes 5 miles an hour faster than the Dominator 1, and it's a lot better. And I know you guys would have to hang in there for a little longer, but it's your first ever vehicle, and it is a really good first. Personally, I went with the TIV 1. Now, while it's a reliable vehicle, it's nice and all, but it does 95, and it has a pretty long deploy time, especially for early. And it is really annoying, because when a vehicle takes something like that, takes something so long, it takes so long to deploy, and it takes so long to get to the tornadoes, to where it's just not the most worth it. Now, it may seem cool and all, but your best bet is to just go with the Dominator 1 or continue to save for the Dominator 2. Now, once you've gotten your first vehicle, you're going to start feeling the dilemma of how to intercept again. Now, intercepting with a vehicle is pretty much the same, except at the same time it's not. Because you have to utilize the base reflectivity and especially base velocity a lot more than you usually did. Now, right now, we are going to go in and actually intercept this. So first, you're going to basically watch. You're going to see, is it coming towards you? Now, yeah, in our case, it is. So we're going to get right here. We park. We deploy. You press B in the most cases to deploy quick. And that'll automatically deploy you. The tornado comes at you. And basically, either you get a direct core intercept or you don't. We are not going to get a core intercept here, but we are going to catch the outskirts of it. Now, see, that was a poor prediction on my part. I could have predicted better, but oftentimes we make mistakes in storm chasing, and that's just what Twisted's kind of all about. But when you get your first intercept, you'll get this wind speeds thing on your thing. That's your highest wind speeds. You have intercepts, you have all of this stuff. But that's not super useful unless you just kind of want to flex on your friends and be a meanie. But other than that, there's really no other things to explain about how to intercept and how to do that. It's pretty basic, and like I said earlier, you can really just follow the crowd. You'll eventually get more skills as time progresses and as you play the game more. But like intercepting it's kind of a work of art. You have to learn, and it just takes time and getting better. But there is another key part of intercepting. See, so like around the tornado or the symbol, you'll see like this mess up on the base velocity. That is what it's going. If you see black pixels or white pixels, usually it indicates like 200 plus, 300 plus miles an hour, depending on the amount of black or white pixels. Now, you can see this. These aren't super accurate, but they are. It means it's basically an indication of speed. Now, 300 plus mile an hour tornadoes, good for intercepting, fun, but they'll mess your vehicle up really quick. So basically, you just want to probe those things and run. Now, use hit PR video probes and hit PR instrument probes for those kind of tornadoes because they have a lot more health. Now, intercepting in a Dom 1, it's really a gamble with your life. Like, you could intercept like pink TVS tornadoes, but they're oftentimes going to be pretty powerful if they have at least a blue pixel or not. So, in my personal opinion, you should probably just go for the Dominator 2, but that's really up to you guys, depending on what you really want. Now, we're going to go on to the next vehicle. In our case, this is going to be the Dominator 2, so I will see y'all in a second. Okay, so you just got yourself the Dominator 2. Either you started with it, or you worked your way back up from the Dominator 1. Now, this is a good vehicle. This is either a good starter or a good, like, just mid-game vehicle. It acts as the, basically, stepping stone for a lot of people. Now, personally, I went straight from the TIV 1 all the way up to the TIV 2. I don't recommend that. Now, while it may seem like a good idea, I think it's a lot more helpful to get like a stepping stone in between. But what's nice about the Dominator 2 is it still has that super quick deploy time of the Dominator 1. And if you open the doors right there, you can see it does have spikes. Now, these spikes are really helpful, and especially because they're quick deploying, which is not common on many of the later vehicles, except for the Dominator 3. Now, your first intercept, pretty much the exact same as the Dominator 1, and it will pretty much always be the same for these vehicles. There's no real different change in how you intercept, but as you get better, you'll learn more strategies like how to watch the tornado's movements without even needing radar. Now, I'm going to show y'all what it's like to intercept in the Dominator 2 here. We're hopefully going to get some good footage and everything, but yes, see you guys in a sec. Okay, so guys, your first ever intercept in the Dominator 2. Yeah, we just got wind speeds over probe placement. Now, this is a powerful tornado. We probably will get lifted here, and as is the case with many early interceptors, and even many late game interceptors. Now, you can see, powerful tornado, but the Dominator 2 is good for its quick deployment and pretty high wind speed survival. While it doesn't survive as much as UTAV, it's certainly more cost efficient. Okay, and yeah, we're gonna get lifted here. That is unfortunate, but it's a very powerful tornado here, guys. Yep, there we go. So yeah, you'll often find yourself just flying through the air in the Dominator 2. It's alright, it's not that big of a deal. But, obviously, you make a lot of money. Once you start getting these late game interceptors, you even have the Messinet on top of your vehicle, which can actually make you a lot of cash too. Depending on how fast the tornado's going, your Messinet will also start generating you cash. This is a really helpful feature, and honestly, it's useful for when you forget to buy probes and whatnot. Yeah, we're getting error. So anytime you see error, like we just saw there, like we're seeing right now, anytime you get error on your Messinet, that means that it's exceeding the survival wind speeds, or the wind speeds that you're meant to survive. So it means you're going higher than your vehicle's supposed to, and you're probably going to get picked up. Now, yeah, here we go. We're sliding right now. And it is a pretty bad sign. Oh my. Guys, this tornado is insane. But yeah, it's going to happen a lot, no matter what vehicle you use, and especially late game too. I've been lifted a lot before in my TIV, and like there's certain vehicles, just the early ones, they don't survive as much, but it's all right because there's not much harm done in getting like thrown and stuff. It's kind of fun to watch, but I think it's time for us to move on to kind of our final explanation of vehicles, and then we'll do kind of a wrap up. I'll kind of go over everything and we'll explain a little bit more. So see you guys in a sec. It is here that you are faced with a dilemma that many players who work their way to the top have faced. Do you get the Dominator 3 or the TIV 2? Now, this is a very difficult question, and it is still debated heavily to this day. Now, the Dominator 3, it is extremely fast at deploying. You can deploy it even faster than 9 seconds. If you're capable of clicking fast, you can do this. You can deploy almost instantaneously, and you can even undeploy almost instantaneously, and you can get going in seconds. It also has the really nice rocket feature, which I can actually showcase here, that allows it to probe tornadoes without even getting into them. So what you do, you control the rocket from the very, very rear seat. You turn it towards kind of the face of the tornado. I am unfortunately not very good right now. Turn it, you angle it. You don't want it to go too high or it'll miss the tornado. And then you fire the rocket. Now that one was a little bit high, but it should hit the rotating wall cloud. And we'll see here. We'll watch it. If it doesn't pick up, unfortunately, we will need to relaunch. Okay, yeah, it did not pick up. Now, tornadoes, yeah, it can be kind of hard to work the rockets, and it is an unfortunate cost, and sometimes they'll do that. Yeah, don't let the rockets do that, though, guys. But they normally should get inside. Once they get inside the tornado, they'll kind of spike up. They don't make very much cash. So that's kind of they'll make you the records, which is what a lot of players use them for. Now, sure, the record's cool and all, but really what you're after for vehicles now is kind of cash grinding and stuff. Now, you can there's two paths. You can either save for yourself a interceptor, either one of the two. Personally, I don't really care what you get. It depends on what you really want. Do you want to survive long but have longer deploy times? Do you want to have shorter deploy times but not survive super high? Or do you just want to skip all of that and go straight to a radar? Now, the benefits of radar, it's very heavily, it's a very big investment is what I'll say. You can make tons of cash using these things. Like, they will make you the big bucks, but they're an investment. Personally, the dilemma of the radar is not even like a question. It is the Rax pull, which is the best money-making option. It doesn't have as much range as a Dow does, but it makes more money per scan. Now, that's the big part, though, back to the dilemma, is, yeah, it's really up to the user. You can even get the Armadillo if you want to, which survives higher than the Dominator, has lower deploy speeds than the TIV, but it does not survive as high as the TIV does. Now, it's really up to you guys. It doesn't matter, and nobody's gonna attack you for it. TIV and Dom mains, they'll usually hate each other, but it's all the same, guys. It's not a big deal. it doesn't affect what you do, and it's really just up to y'all. So it's just a decision of yours. You make that decision. You buy what you want. You be happy with what you want, and it's not up to anybody else. But I think it's time for our wrap up. So let's kind of recap exactly what we talked about in today's video. Okay, so in today's video of Roblox Twisted, we kind of went over how to play the game, how to get the basics down, and how to get your first vehicles, and how to even play late game. Now, late game vehicles, pretty easy. You follow the same basic ideas, and you'll probably be a lot more advanced and a lot more capable of understanding on how to intercept. But it's really up to you, late game vehicles. And once you go from there, I definitely recommend getting a radar. Radars are nice. Radars make money. And they're a good way to just kind of have some fun with your friends. Now, obviously, the big, like, wrap-up thing is, which vehicles do I get? First, you're going to start with the Scout. The Scout, best vehicle for the starter game. Next, you're going to go Dom 1, Dom 2. It's up to you guys. Do you want to wait for another interceptor, or do you want an interceptor now? And then you get the third option. You go for the Dom 2 or the UTAV. Now, I didn't showcase the UTAV very much, or UTAV, depending on how you pronounce it. I didn't show it very much. I don't personally own it because I didn't really go for it, and it was really just not appealing to me. It was much more expensive, and at that point, I would have just saved for the TIV 2. Now, the final option, the fifth option, is either the Dom 3 or the TIV 2. Now, this is another up to you guys call. It's really a matter of, do you want to deploy fast and get out of there fast, or do you want to have a longer deploy time but have higher wind speed survivals? It's just up to y'all. It doesn't matter. The Dom 3, what I really love about it is that it has the good old rocket probes, which are really helpful and really cool. But it's just a decision for y'all. It doesn't matter. And as always, thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to date with the latest ST videos, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, like the video, and yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this kind of basic explanation. If you want to see more of this, let me know in my comments.